wasn't mentioned, so I don't know if this is part of the scope of your study, but I mean, I feel like every weekend it's like a surprise. Is there some sort of forecast on when this, do you know anything in terms of when construction is going to end, or is there any sort of forecast as to, because we don't seem to get the information about what construction is actually about, and every weekend we find out, a few weeks in advance what the deal is, but every weekend we're either not able to go into Queens or not able to go into Manhattan. And that's the main form of transportation out of that.
I mean, I'll tell you, I checked the website. That to me, I live in Queens as well.
But I mean long term, sorry. I meant not, because I know the website gives you the short term, what's coming up in the next few weeks, but I meant just in terms of long term, like what are they doing in those tunnels and why has it been going on for, 30 years?
A long answer.
Any more than I
Go ahead.
Go ahead. Maybe something would be.
Go ahead.
Well, what I understand is that the work that they're doing involves connection to the Second Avenue subway. And as most of us know, there's going to be the first phase of the Second Avenue subway, which is slated for 2018, 17. Is going to come down from 96th Street, go west on 63rd, and then connect into the 7th Avenue Broadway line. And there's a station of the 2nd Avenue subway at Lexington and 63rd. Actually, I was there today. You can actually see that station's going to be open. There's going to be the same platform for going up, down, the same platform going down. Well, I understand there's all this work involves making things ready for that connection. The last sign that I've seen put up earlier this year by the MTA indicated that this work was going to take place during most of 2013. So that if one reads into that, by the end of this year, those diversions that relate to the 2nd Avenue subway should be done. But as you know, the system has been going under a lot of rehab and rehabilitation. So I don't know whether there are any other work that involves the entire system that might necessitate the alternate.
If we see it as like a constant for the next two, let's say, I'm pretty doubtful that they'll end in 2013, but if for the next few years this is going to be happening, I feel like maybe part of this study should involve how do we work around that and find alternate solutions to the F train service that's out every weekend. I don't know if you guys are looking into that at all.
Could.
I think the broader question from the public here, especially at Island, is that oftentimes, in the broader sense, service to the island is seen as if we put a bus route here and then we have some subway lines, so that's adequate enough. So the question is whether or not within your impact studies you're incorporating the increased population here as well as along Vernon Boulevard from the north to the south, and what are the transportation options that you have seen or at least thinking about incorporating into the study, or are you at that point yet? Are you looking for that type of input from the community at this point?
We're definitely looking for that kind of input from the community. We have been very actively engaged with New York City Transit and New York City Bus. We've not yet really engaged their subway folks, because our issues thus far focus more on the bus network. But if you have recommendations, if you have ideas, we will certainly take them from you.
I think if we can get more questions from the community first, and then I think maybe it'd be good for us as board members to come up with an action plan to put forth, possibly setting a workshop, further workshops with you, and also, help you all along develop.
I think it would be good to get the MTA involved.
Right. So if we can get the questions from the community first, and then we, as the board members, we can set the next action steps.
Just one last follow-up.
Sure.
It's just the bus is such a small ratio, or percentage of people compared to the percentage of island residents that use the subway or the tram. It's just such a smaller group of people that you're affecting by doing these bus routes. So I think focusing on the F train study.
In the back there?
Hi, thank you very much for the presentation.
Sharon, can you stand up? It would be helpful if you identify yourself.
My name is Sharon Poe. Thank you very much for the presentation. I have two questions. If I understood the parameters of the study area, it does not include Queens Plaza. Did I visualize the parameters of the study area
Go
correctly?
one more forward.
Oh, I'm sorry, this, there.
Transit. No, one more.
What,
One more forward.
Back, yeah.
Where's the transit map?
oh, you want the transit?
Yeah, this one. Here we go.
Okay.
So we do capture.
It's,
Oh, yes. So you do catch a Queensboro Plaza.
Right.
Oh, fantastic. And also, coming off the Queensboro Bridge by bike is somewhat difficult to bike over to Vernon Boulevard to do a straight shot. I'm not sure if that should be something, because I know that you're interested in connecting more completely the bicycle network, but it's somewhat difficult because I ride over by bike over Queensboro Bridge often, and coming back is somewhat difficult just to get on Vernon Boulevard, which does have great bike lanes to shoot down, and I was wondering if you could take a look at that.
Okay.
That's on the Queen side, right?
Yes.
Just are you looking at the Manhattan side too, in terms of the bike, or just the Queen side?
Just the Queen side at this point.
City DOT just.
Because there's been some work on the Manhattan side by DOT.
Kevin was just going to say that.
Make sure public first, and then we'll go to the board.
Okay, Rich.
The bullet points describe the study as access to Roosevelt Island. From a Roosevelt Island perspective, I think we'd like to see access to and from Roosevelt Island. I think that would give the impression that you're considering the wishes of the residents here, as opposed to just people coming here.
So if I can do this without messing up the layout.
There's a real problem in terms of accessing Long Island City, the Vernon Boulevard area from Roosevelt Island, as well as Astoria, like the Socrates Park area. So I'm wondering if you're looking into bus access from Roosevelt Island to Astoria in the Socrates Park area, and from Roosevelt Island to Vernon Boulevard, down by to Borden area.
Yes.
Where, because currently the 102 is on Roosevelt Island, but it makes the left before the bridge and it goes up to Queens Plaza. So there's no access really to the main retail section of Vernon Boulevard. So if that's part of your study, that would be a welcome addition to Roosevelt Island.
And, the to from was kind of implied. If people are coming here or, need to get here, they need to get off the island as well. So I think, we'll make the change to make it more explicit, but it was never just about to Roosevelt Island. In our minds, it was always to and from.
Okay, now there's also a new bus route, I think it's the 32, that goes along the East River from Williamsburg into Greenpoint over the Pulaski Bridge, and it stops at the City Court building, the Court Square.
Right.
If there's any way of extending that to come past Roosevelt Island to maybe Socrates Park, that might be a natural extension of the line.
We can raise that.
So it's something to consider.
Two things. There's a new bus, the Q70, which is an express bus from Roosevelt Avenue to LaGuardia, which is a wonderful thing. Maybe you can get the MTA to publicize it on this side so people know you don't have to take a taxi to go to LaGuardia. And also, when Goldwater closes, there'll be very few people getting on the Q102 bus at the south end of the island. At the current rate, the bus goes north to Kohler, picks up people at Kohler, and then goes down to the south end, Goldwater, and comes back. When Goldwater is no longer here, and in the pre-Cornell days, there were a lot of employees at Kohler Hospital who really have a hassle getting here because at 5 o'clock in the morning, there's no red bus, there's nothing. So if you get the MTA to switch the route, that the bus comes and goes south first, picks up people at the subway, and then goes up to the hospital. It makes sense, because now they're not going to be picking up anyone at the south end of the island, and there are lots of people who would come, especially early in the morning and late at night, to get to the hospital, to go to work, and it's virtually impossible. There's only one red bus on late at night, and there's no bus service before 6 in the morning. And should be rearranged, so we say.
Okay.
Actually, Jack, the transportation got a presentation from it's one of Queens, New York City bus. It's not part of, it's not part of the New York Transit Authority. And about the M102, and then they had come back here with a follow-up. And we might want to get them here again, because we should find out what they're doing. As Judy pointed out, once Goldwater closes, the need to go down that way is going to be reduced, at least until Cornell reopens. So you ought to know that, and we ought to maybe follow up with the MTA.
I mean, they should be coming back because there was recommendations given by the transportation committee as to improvements on the service and whatnot, and there were some items that were supposed to be done by the fall. I don't think we've had that update as of yet. So.
Who came out, Dory?
There was three individuals, whoever is the supervisor for the Q102 line, basically. Are there any other questions from the public before we get to the board?
There has been an ongoing issue, or at least a wish by Roosevelt Island residents to have pedestrian access to the Queensboro Bridge. And I think the community board at one point recommended having that being studied. And Cornell has made the commitment to study that issue as well. Can you guys look into that at all?
Sure.
So it'd be like, there used to be an elevator that came down from the Queensboro Bridge to Roosevelt Island. So that's just something else to consider.
How long ago was that?
It closed in 1970. It's where the tram station is.
Okay.
That was it. The bridge was built in 57, Judy?
No, the Roosevelt Island Bridge was opened in 57. The trolley car service closed in 57. The elevator storehouse closed in 1970, and the building was demolished.
Judy is also a resident.
Historian. I'm getting that.
Okay, anybody else? Okay.
I have a couple of them.
Go ahead.